let's talk about that digital marketplace you have in your pocket. I'm gonna get a chance to sit down with one of New Jersey's premier real estate investment companies. You're gonna love that. And home buyers, want that HGTV style experience? You know, like you see on TV? Well, we have an event coming up just made for you. All that, plus markets and more, right here on Reasonably Speaking. Hey, thanks for clicking in to Reasonably Speaking. I'm Sean Thompson.
I'm Michael Bordinsky.
Hey, we haven't done a show in a little bit, so it's good to see you guys again. You know, if you want to find us, I'm at FHA203K on Instagram, at 203K on Twitter, at Sean Thompson, the Renovation Guy on Facebook, and on YouTube, where the library of all my stuff exists, is all things Sean Thompson, the Renovation Guy. Mike, tell them where to find you.
Right here. At Mike Bordinsky on Twitter
There you go.
And on Instagram.
There you go. We'll put his stuff on the scroll so you can find them that way
Yeah.
too. Hey, welcome to another episode of Reasonably Speaking. We got a good one for you, and I'll tell you, this podcast is really, or it's tough to call it a podcast. It's a show, really, right? And it's designed really for industry professionals to help you navigate your way to doing more business, right? So we got a lot of really good stuff for you today, you know, and we'll start out with just sort of giving our sort of update to the market, and I'll turn it over to you to Mike to start that one off.
So I sat through a lot of economic forecasts. I was actually just came back from Las Vegas, where I attended the International Builders show, which was huge. There were 65,000 attendees. Unbelievable. It's the largest attendance that they've had in over 10 years.
You can't walk it in a day. That's how big it is.
It's unbelievable.
You need a couple of days there.
But I was able to, sit through a couple of seminars and presentations. One was the National Association of Home Builders economist. And he basically said that conditions are really good right now. One of the best things that has happened over the last 2 months is the sentiment on interest rates, Sean. What we were looking at the end of November and into early December was a lot of concern about interest rates going up. The Fed had a predisposition. They raised interest rates, if you recall, back in December, and they had a predisposition to continue that mode for fear that, the economy was too hot. And there are things that you can point to that show that the economy is doing really well. Look at the job creation. Hundreds of thousands of new jobs getting created every month. Wages have been going up, so people statistically are making more money, and they're starting to catch up. It's a good thing.
I feel like there's a but coming.
Well, the but is that we live in a global society now, and that what goes on in other parts of the world starts to affect our economy. So there are some headwinds, and the headwinds that I think caused the Federal Reserve to pause was a lot of uncertainty about our trade relations and negotiations with China, because there's a tariff issue. There's slowdowns in economic activity in Asia. Parts of Japan have slowed down, parts of China has slowed down, parts of India have slowed down, although they're growing well, but the rate of growth is slowing down. And parts of Europe, via the EU, are in recession, some of those countries. And then you've got on top of that Brexit. And what's the impact of that? So what happened was the Federal Reserve started making comments that said, hey, I think we're going to put the brakes on raising rates into 19.
And that's really outside of the localized, if you will, issue that we're having, and that is still the same things we've been talking about for almost years now, which is affordability and inventory.
Right.
So
what, to your point, affordability is a major component of what's going on out there. And with affordability, there's two components. One is the reality, and the other is the perception. The reality is if rates continue to go up, it is going to impact affordability. The other is perception, and that is if rates go up or they think they're going to go up, better put, if they think they're going to go up, it's going to cause the home buyer to get scared and to pause. Now, while all this was going on, if you recall, leading in up until right up to Christmas, we saw an accelerated sell-off in stocks and equities. And that had everybody concerned because when you look at your monthly statement, whether it's your 401k, your investment statement or whatever, and you start seeing the value of that statement go down, you feel less wealthy. At that point in time, you look at the statement. It may be irrelevant if you look at the statement over a 2-year period to say, hey, wait a minute, I'm still ahead of the game over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But people look at it right there and then. So what has happened? The Federal Reserve backed off their inclination to raise rates. Long-term interest rates dropped. So where rates were going above 5, now they're down to 4.5, in some cases lower. And then stock market turns itself around. Stock market's up 20%.
So the question and answer is still going on. Stock market responds, favorably to the cost of money. So
why did ask yourself, why did the stock market improve? So it's because our economy is doing well. The companies, the impact from the corporate tax reduction, the corporations are making money. So the American economy is the safest place to invest your money. So that's where money poured into. There were more sell-offs going on overseas in some of the other global markets, but not here. So the market, the people trying to find safer places to park their money and invest. And they were investing in bonds, which caused long-term rates to drop. They were investing in equities. So now you take away everything that was negative in November and December. We had a complete turnaround through January, and here we are at the end of February. Rates are low, sentiment is good, and people are out there wanting to buy. So we are now in a spring market in good news. And the economists, I'm going to finish on this, in terms of prediction, everyone feels that this 2019 is going to be a great year in terms of GDP, in terms of interest rates, in terms of home sales, and in terms of consumer sentiment.
I tell you, and thank you for that. I think, the next cohort of home buyers, if you will, are a little more skeptical than their parents were, and the skepticism is or affordability and inventory is not helping with that skepticism. It's good to see that we're heading in a direction, where this day and age is 26, 27, 28-year-olds are thinking, I do want to buy my own house. Because it was that was up in the air for a little while.
Millennials are very eager to buy.
I wasn't going to call them the M word. You did it.
I did. Those folks, we can call them tweeners, in between.
I said cohort, which was a fancy way.
But they are looking to buy, just not so much in the late 20s. They're now the ones that are in their early 30s are getting real itchy to buy. But now the other problem is the dynamic of region to region, because some areas of this country are more affordable than others. So we have not been blessed with the affordability question, which is how we're going to get into the renovation aspect and how that could be an affordable methodology. But when you have a state where the property taxes are high, inventory is low, prices are too high, you do create an affordability issue because there isn't a lot of new inventory out there. You have older housing stock, with taxes that aren't as attractive, and then you have a new tax law that caps your deductibility at $10,000. So what's a young home buyer to do? Because the biggest issue over the past 10 years is that new home builders are not finding available places to buy and put new entry-level housing into the marketplace.
Well, we've said this a couple of times on the show, and we did account for the fact that it took builders a little while for their cycle to catch up to the market in terms of inventory and where they were. Are builders cycling through that faster now? Are we almost to the point where builders are, where we're going to have the new construction we need in this market to deal with supply and demand?
No,
are we almost to that point yet?
Well, there's a lot of dynamics going on. There's a regulatory dynamic where, it's very difficult to get projects approved through the municipalities due to home rule. Home rule is where each municipality gets to decide whether they want to, go for an approval on a development or not, based on what the builder's proposing that they build. If a builder's proposing to build housing that may adversely affect, and I shouldn't say adversely, but affect their school system by new children coming in, they're not going to want to approve the project. So what have they done? A lot of builders have, especially the smaller ones, not the big publics, have changed their dynamic and business model to putting up apartments.
It seems contrary to what home buyers want.
Yep.
My thought on that, at least. But
so a lot of the new projects going up have been for rental, not for buy. Now, the millennials, certainly over the last 5 years, were hungry for those rentals because they did not want to make a commitment to buy. They liked the fact that they didn't have to make a commitment. They didn't know, they consider themselves mobile, which means that they weren't married to their job. They would be, if they found a better job after being on their first job for a year, they'd take the next job. And if that job relocated them to North Carolina, they'd go in a heartbeat. So that's why they were more inclined to rent. Now, as they mature, Sean, and now they're in their late 20s and now they're in their early 30s, now they're finding their partner. They're looking to settle down. They're thinking about family planning and stuff like that, and they don't want to move anymore. They want to stay put, and then they want to buy.
They want to stay put. They want to have a family. Who'd have thunk it, right?
Exactly. So the American dream. But the question is, can they go find something that's affordable in a neighborhood, or is there a new builder that's putting in entry-level housing? Not so much. There has to be a solution. And could you renovate the existing housing stock as part of that solution?
We're certainly going to get to that as need be. But first, I wanted to talk about something really quick. And thanks for the update, Mike. I like to look at the studies from the mobile providers, our mobile, like AT&T and Verizon and companies like that. And I've talked about this over the last couple of months. But there's a couple of things that I find super interesting. And I say this because I want to speak directly to our realtors and contractors and other partners out there. Where are the eyeballs? Where are the eyeballs? I'll tell you what, terrestrial television and radio, I don't need to tell you that a lot of I don't even want to say younger, just people in general, all right, are cutting the ties from their television sets and are cutting the ties from traditional means of marketing, all right? But let me read off a couple of statistics from the latest AT&T study on this, all right? 77% deliberately don't pick up a call on their phone. So 77% of the time when you get a phone call, all right, you're not answering it unless you know the number on the other end. And even then, you don't answer it, right? So a lot of phone calls aren't being answered. All right. 45% of all households use cell phones only. I'll put up the slide for you and I'll walk it through. 54% no longer use an office landline phone to make work calls. They're using their cell phones at work, right? So,
and there's a reason for that. I'm going to tell you. It's interesting you say. First of all, with my landline office line, I don't even use it anymore, and I have it automatically call forward. Any incoming call to my office line gets automatically call forwarded to my mobile. But number two, the reason I don't use my office line is I want, especially the people that know me or expecting my call, I want them to know it's me. So by calling from my office, my cell phone.
That's correct.
They're going to know.
Because you want them to pick up your call.
I want them to pick up the call. Otherwise, they're not. If they see it's from, a caliber, or if they see it's from a company, or it doesn't even register as to who it's coming from, they're not going to pick the call up.
Correct. And so, that device over there is super powerful. It's a giant marketplace in your pocket if you know how to use it. Yet we still have salespeople chasing people down the old traditional way, which is, why aren't they answering my phone call? And maybe phone calls are the way to sort out the issues once you've gotten through, the initial, how do I get in touch with this person? How do I get them to listen to me? Maybe a phone call is a way to sort out the issues, and I certainly agree with that, but it's certainly not the way to prospect as much anymore.
The other thing is that people, the younger generation, so we're talking Gen Y, we're talking millennials, we're talking all of the different, as they go younger and younger, they're communicating not even phone call. They're not communicating that way. They're sending text messages. They're sending instant messages through Instagram, IMs, and different ways to send messages out because they don't want to talk.
Let me read you this statistic. Hold that thought.
Go ahead.
95% of texts will be read within 3 minutes of being sent.
Boom.
With an average response time of 90 seconds.
Boom.
Of 90 seconds.
Yeah, it tells you everything.
So think about that. Right. You send a text, it's almost guaranteed it's going to be read.
Yep.
All right. And your response rate is through the roof.
Yep.
Through the roof. And think about your own life. That's kind of how, I hate to say it, although I am a little old school that way. I do answer phones and I do talk on the phone quite a bit, but I'm mostly solving problems. I get very few prospects calling me, and I also don't call as many prospects as I used to. But with an average response time of 90 seconds, this is the way people are communicating.
Correct. And I don't want to just say that it's only young people, because people who are, people who are in the working world, and I don't care what generation it is, they're gonna look at the text message before they have time to let the phone ring and answer it and pick up the call, because they're doing something else. They're glued to this or their tablet or their laptop.
Listen, having an idea and then being forced to write the idea or express that idea in the literary is two totally different things. You really have to be choice. It makes you think about your idea in general when you have to type it out, right?
Absolutely.
And not that you have to type it out in long form in a text, but look at the next couple of pages that I have. These are hilarious, all right, because it's why not do a phone call? Why not do a phone call? All right, so, and I won't go through all of these, in detail, but phone calls are distracting. They're presumptuous, all right? They presume that the person you're calling should drop everything and adhere to your agenda, right? You ever get that? The person calls and then wants 30 minutes of your time.
Yep.
You answered the phone, much to your own peril. It's superfluous here, meaning, the calls give the perception of more airtime, so callers can neglect to gather the necessary information up front and will talk out loud until they land on the intended message. In other words, a lot of fluff until the real stuff comes out when you actually have a phone call.
Yep.
Versus a text message where you can be super succinct in about 2 sentences and get out your idea. All right, sometimes, here's my favorite one. I'll skip over ineffective because I think we talked about that, but time consuming. You ever get hey, you got 2 minutes for a call by text? You got 2 minutes for a call? And you go, sure, I got 2 minutes for a call. And then when the call is done, you look at your phone and you go, that was like 40 minutes. That was 40 minutes. It was 2 minutes worth of data and 38 minutes worth of junk. All right?
You're absolutely right. And if you want to be an effective person in communicating to your customer, to your client, whether it's your buyer, whether it's your agent, whether it's an agent talking to a buyer, whoever it is, I love the text message as a means to set up the ultimate call. But the text message isn't just, you okay for a call. There has to be an expectation of what the call is about. One thing you lose in a text message, it's context. Because you don't get context in a text message. It's just you're sending out a message. And it's, you type something in wrong, people could take it the wrong way because they didn't really hear what you were really saying.
You know what's super underestimated? Not to cut you off. What was super underestimated in what you just said is you lose the context. What's underestimated is the power of what is now considered part of our language and means for communication.
Right.
You're going to laugh at this, but it's the emoji. or the Bitmoji,
Yep.
or the thing or picture that says a picture say 1,000 words.
There you go.
Bitmoji say 1,000 words too. All right, and when you use them in incorporation with your couple of sentences, you're communicating emotion through your text message. All right, I think we fell on that, and we do it sort of tongue in cheek as a society. But there's super value in posting or texting a picture of the way you feel, because you're communicating your emotion, and less context gets lost that way.
Yep.
All right, so I just thought that was interesting to share. So I didn't want to harp on it too much. Mike, we have an event coming up on March 19th. I normally do a Selling Homes HGTV style event, and it's designed to talk to the real estate community about selling homes like we do on HGTV. You've heard me before. You know how it's going to go, right? So I really want to do an event and a recurring event for buyers. All right, I want to talk to that cohort, if you will, coming up, and letting them know that one of the best paths to affordability is buying a home, getting the money to renovate it, buying a home sold at a discount because of its condition, and getting the money to renovate it all in once. All right, and I got to tell you, there's a huge market for that, and I'm going to segue into something else. But first, let's talk about the event. All right, our events here is going to be at March 19th, on March 19th, here in Bridgewater.
So that's 2 days after St. Patty's Day. So everybody should be recovered. Is that correct? Because St. Patty's Day isn't that on a Saturday this year?
I don't know.
I don't know. What day is our event? The 19th?
The 19th.
What day is that?
The 19th. I don't know what day. I think it's a Tuesday.
Okay, so this.
It's a Tuesday, the 19th.
All right, let me look. So this is very important, guys. 17th is a Sunday, so we're having it on a Tuesday.
Tuesday the 19th.
So this whole the 16th to 17th is going to be a blackout weekend. You know that. Everybody's going to be celebrating.
So you can come Tuesday the 19th.
By Tuesday, they should be recovered.
They should be recovered by then.
And in buying mode.
In buying mode.
Okay.
So we're gonna meet and greet between 5:30 and 6 here in Bridgewater. You can go Sean Thompson Caliber Home Loans on Facebook.
And you're going to post something. You're going to post something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You'll be able to find it really easily. I'll put the invite in the body of this video as well, so you'll have it there as well.
It's got to be there.
But from 6 to 8, we're going to teach home buyers. We're going to give home buyers a guide to getting exactly what they want, to buying and renovating. And I got to tell you, there's a huge market for that. Some of those homes don't even make it. I'm going to teach you how to find the ones that may or may not make it to the MLS, by the way. All right, which is a good segue.
So this is going to be right in our office here in Bridgewater. Just want to remind everybody, and it's easy to get to. We're right across the way from the Bridgewater Commons Mall. So
that's correct. It's going to be in the building, not in the office, yeah?
Yeah, so it's going to be great.
Yeah,
I want to just tell people, because it's easy to get to.
It is going to be great.
Bridgewater Commons, not far.
So we look forward to seeing you. Check underneath where you saw this video for the information on how to get there. This is what sort of sparked my, buying homes HGTV style, and I'll segue into it. There is, I believe, an underground of activity. There's a population that's looking to get into real estate investing. All right, they're looking to flip houses. They're looking to get into holding homes long term. All right, and they don't want to be in the home finance business, and they don't want to be realtors per se, but
they want to be investors.
There's a huge group, and it's an underground group. And I tell you, I got a chance to spend some time with someone from Flipstarters. All right, Lenney Hernandez, and I got to tell you, I was super impressed with what these guys do day in and day out, but also the way that they give their time to the community, that, for free. You can spend a lot of time with these guys and learn a lot about investing. All right, so I want to cut away. I want to show you what I learned, hanging out with Lenney for a little bit. So check this out. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Hey, Lenney, thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. When I got a call from an agent who said, you got to meet this guy Lenney and see what he's doing over there. And no offense, I was a little skeptical, because I did sit down with a lot of investors in my career, but I was blown away at a couple of things, right? Number one, you got a real business going. Number two, there's a genuine concern for the next group coming up. And you really feel that. It's impactful when I come and I sit and you got an audience of 80 people here, and you're concerned, and they didn't pay anything to come,
Yeah.
and and you guys are doing such a fantastic job with education for them, and it's a caring, and
Yes.
you can feel it in the room.
Yes.
So that I thought was exciting. So let's start out first.
Yes.
Your name's Lenney Hernandez.
That's
I didn't
right.
say that up front. I probably should have. But how'd you get here? Tell me about your story.
So I've been doing real estate since '98. I bought my first house in '98, and I got into it just like a lot of people. Just I wanted to get a rental property. I was working full time, and I thought that was now I was in real estate, right? I learned a lot of things in just buying that one particular property, right? I paid too much for it. I was learning how to be a landlord and stuff. So I kind of got turned off by a little bit, and I said, all right, this will be the only house that I jump into, right? Because I didn't know. Nobody really showed me any of that. So then I was working in Manhattan as a recruiter, and then September 11th happened, and that changed everybody's life forever. So my office was shut down, and I just never went back to work there. So I wanted to get into real estate for different reasons. I bought the Carlton Sheets. I don't know if you remember Carlton Sheets.
I do.
Yeah. I bought the Carlton Sheets book. I was like, you know what? This is interesting. Being able to buy real estate without money. We talk about how do you get involved without money? And I was like, wait a minute. So I don't have a job at this point. Let me see if I could get into this. I kind of just started figuring it out and going on, appointments. I had all my documents, contracts and stuff like that. And I ran across a gentleman who had 2 4-families for sale. And I just tried, I just asked him. He wanted $160,000 for the properties. So I said, look, if I gave you 200, can I keep the difference? And he said, yeah. So I said, wow, okay. So the profit margin there is $40,000 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
I said, there got to be more to this. We put it together. My father was a realtor. He helped me with finding the right person for the finance and all that stuff. I got 2 friends of mine to buy the properties, and that opened up my eyes really on how to be able to buy multifamilies. Those were multifamily properties with no money, but also not just help myself, but also help my friends who then turned to buy more multifamilies and stuff like that. And that got my foot in the door with real estate. Fast forward, I then began to renovate properties, and I did it by default. I was buying houses within the same area and just fixing it up, selling them, but using the same contractors for those particular properties.
Right.
I didn't do that on purpose. I did it by default just because I started getting deals there. I was getting so many deals there that I had to start selling off the deals that I was getting, because I would just go up to a homeowner that couldn't sell their property and say, look, if I fix up your house, can we, can I make the difference of what you want, right? And I'll put the money into fixing it. Kind of risky to do. We were doing it on a handshake. And the only thing I had to secure it was my father locking up, the deal to put it on the MLS. So that began to take off. But then I discovered that once you have the deal, once you have the property, and being able to sell it to somebody else who's going to renovate the property and make money, that started a whole nother business of its own. We discovered auctions, we discovered tax lien foreclosures, we discovered all those things, and we just started making a business of taking those properties and selling them to investors, and then the investors would take those properties, renovate it, and sell them. We would just make a little difference in between.
Right.
That became a pretty good business, all up till 2008. 2008 came around, and
A lot of things changed.
A lot of things changed, including my whole life. Everything came crashing down because I wasn't ready. I'd never experienced something like that before, and I was ramping up into going into new construction.
Okay.
So I had put all my money into buying lots, right? And around 2006, everything was high. I was buying properties at very heavy prices.
Sure.
Knocking them down, getting building permits and everything, plans and all that. Then everything collapsed. Nobody wanted to buy those properties. Overnight. I couldn't sell them. I couldn't do anything. So I literally basically gave those properties away. The rentals that I had accumulated, right? They helped me through the whole thing I was going through. And I did what you should never do, is get rid of those rentals, because nobody was, everybody's looking for a fire sale. So I got rid of them. And once the dust settled and everything, I said, okay, I just won't ever get into real estate again, right? I tried buying, becoming a car dealer, a small car dealer. That didn't work. I tried, buying and selling, merchandise. That didn't work neither. So a friend of a friend came to me and they said, they didn't know what I had went through. They didn't know any of that stuff. And they said, look, I'm looking to get into real estate. I'm looking to, me and a few friends of mine want to buy a rental property, right? And we're just gonna make money on that rental property, and that'll be our way into real estate. So I asked him. He had just gotten a job, a corporate job, a nice job. He just graduated college. I said, well, how many people are involved? He goes, 5 people are involved. I said, you're gonna have 5 people involved in one rental, and you're gonna split the rent? He said, yeah. I said, that's not a good idea. I said, if you do what I tell you to do and you work with me, right, I can show you how to do it and be able to create what it is that you're looking to create. But first you have to build a little nest egg. And that's what happened. He left his job, which was a big step for him. And he started with a small investment, $17,000, right? And we began buying, again, at the auctions, selling them to investors, and he was able to build that capital that he needed, right? That sprung his real estate career. He's since then, he's 30 years old. He's gotten 30 rental units by 30. And what it did for me is the capital that I made from there, I put into building a company that would just do the same thing that we were doing, but now not just do it in one county. Now we would do one county here, another county. We were doing 7 counties.
So before you get into the company,
correct,
right, which it sounds like you're segueing into, I'll say a couple of things on what, because you and I talk. I've heard, and you and I've talked about your past before.
Yes.
Right? I never really talked to you about how you managed through late 2007 and early 2008 and the meltdown, right?
Yep.
And you just kind of shared that with us, so thank you. The other thing that you said that I like and notice, and maybe you could tell me it's relevant or not, but you said you shared it with your friends.
Yes.
You are surrounded by your friends.
Yes.
This place is a median,
yes,
of the people that you hang out with and teach to be real estate investors and make money.
Correct.
Correct.
It's I always say it's about building a team, but not just building any team. You have to have a team that you can trust, that you can lean on one another. A lot of people that get into this business, they get into the business, or they think they have to get into the business with a lot of capital. It really isn't about the capital. It's about being surrounded by your team, because one person's going to help the other person. It's not about having hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's about having a little bit of money, but knowing what to do with it.
So I did some real estate investing 20 years ago, well, maybe not that long ago, but you bring up a good point, all right, and it is the isolation that an individual is in when they are trying to learn this business.
Yes.
There are very few
yes.
that are going to help you.
Yes.
There are very few that are going to help you without trying to take from you.
Yes.
All right. And that's what I love about your group here.
Yes.
And I love about what you guys invite in, and I love about what you've done for your friends.
Correct.
And you need that support.
100%.
You need that support if you're going to be good at this business. And by the way, as I'm older, I'm not going to speak for you, but as an older guy, I look at the generation coming up and going, what can I give? There's not a lot of kids getting into real estate.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of, in real estate proper, like being
Correct.
a real estate agent
Correct.
or a mortgage finance agent, right?
Correct.
You know, there's not a lot getting into it. Not as many as there were when we were younger.
Correct.
Let's put it that way.
Correct.
You know, so I look at it. Average age of a real estate agent in the East Coast is like 56. Average loan officer age is like 52.
Yep.
You know, those are averages.
Yep.
What's going to happen to the industry when all those people are gone? You know, and I think what you're doing helps reseed, you know, the group of professionals for the future.
100%.
Yeah.
So being that you touched on that, what we're trying to do over here, the reason why we don't charge anything for people to come down here, and we don't charge anything, for me, it's more personal. When I started, you know, you're around, in this business, it's an easy entry point. Anybody can buy a house and say they're an investor, right? So I was going to meeting a lot of people all over, some good, some not very good people. And, you know, you really don't know that because everybody sounds the same when you know any better, right? And, you know, if it wasn't for you know, being able to you know, take some losses, right? Because there's people that just want to steal your money, right? Or take you down the wrong road. And just being lucky, I just call it luck, and, you know, I thank God every day. But being able to take those hits and keep going, I realized that not everybody could probably do that, right? Because of whatever circumstances. So you need to have a place, an open forum that you can invite people to, and they can ask any questions. Have professionals who are in the business, you know, people that, you know, we you know, believe in, right? And they can share their experiences, not selling them on anything, but just sharing their experiences and any kind of questions. So we do, you know, every Monday we have a meeting over here that we let people just ask whatever they want. Is there one time that they can ask whatever they want, right? We don't try to sell them on a product. We don't try to do anything like that, because I think that's what people are expecting, right?
So it's the Monday nights that I was drawn to as well. You asked me to come.
Yeah.
You should come on Monday nights.
Yeah.
You know, and I did. And each time I came, you had a room full of folks of all ages, not just young people. You know, that you answered questions for. You supported with solutions. You introduced to others that you knew that
Correct.
may have had the answer to the question this person was looking for.
Correct.
You know, so I found that to be really a breath of fresh air in a world where you're normally isolated if you want to try and learn.
Correct.
This.
Correct.
Right? So that's inviting. Talk about Flipstarters.
So
Tell me what
Flipstarters
is.
Flipstarters is basically a community. We wanted to create a community where we can not only work with people that are just starting out, but work with seasoned people too. Why? Because if we work with seasoned people and we work with people that are hungry into the business, you're going to get a combination of both energies, right? The person starting out who's really hungry, like I remember that hunger when you're trying to start out, is going to put it all in. You'll know if they're going to put it all in. They'll do what others won't, right? They will door knock. They're just open to anything at that point. I like dealing with seasoned people, not just because, you know, we have something to talk about, but because we can't help out every single person, give them the attention that they need. So we kind of put them together, right? This is not real estate. It's just like pizzerias. Pizzerias are everywhere and they're all making money, right? Real estate is one of those things that, and we live here in Jersey, so it's a great state to live in. Densely populated state. A lot of people need housing, but I feel like there's really not competition. There's plenty of properties. There's plenty of opportunities to go around for everybody, right? So all we try to do at Flipstarters is have this community of professionals and people starting out. I like the mixture of both, right? No egos. Let's try to build something together. We have an open platform over here, and we have the office set up for if you have a deal. Obviously, we don't want to crowd the office with just people hanging out. If you have something that you're working on, you need help with, guess what? We're here. If you want to, you know, analyze a deal, we're here, right? To help.
I don't want to downplay here either, because your office is very impressive.
Thank you.
It's a nice place that a person can come or a group of people, or where you have your meetings and hang out, and it's obvious you put some thought into the space.
Yes.
And the space resonates, we're here to help, and it's also pretty young and cool and hip and stuff. I mean, the office space, I didn't want to downplay.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
So I like the model, the whole Google model.
Yeah.
I like the whole Facebook model where their offices and stuff. I've worked in a lot of offices that, I just didn't want to be at the office. So I wanted to make it in an environment that you could want to be here, right?
So that said, and before we talk about your event, which I want to get to, I'm on a mission, and have been for 20 years, to introduce sort of that HGTV experience for home buyers, through my style of financing or what I teach real estate agents, and I think now more than ever, those messages are resonating with the next cohort of buyers.
Yep.
Right. More buyers are willing to come out and get off the couch and buy a house being sold at a discount and renovated. And the challenge that I have, the challenge that the industry has with that is, we know we have buyers who want to do that. It's the pathway through the realtor and the loan officer is paved with,
Correct.
some barriers.
Correct.
That push you off the path.
Correct.
Because they want you to buy clean houses at the higher price.
Correct.
And maybe some of your people have bought and renovated, right?
Correct.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
But there is a path for a home buyer to go directly to the house
100%.
and get the reno financing, and maybe they keep the equity, maybe they keep the difference in the form of equity, or just pay less.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So I'm on a mission to really bring that to a household level. And what you're doing, maybe there's some synergy between what you guys find and the buyers that we talk to.
100%.
Right? So let's talk about your event really quick.
So the event we're having, it's called Groga.
Not like you guys only have one; you have events all the time. But this is a biggie.
This event is actually one of our bigger ones. It's called Groga. It's from a friend of mine. His name is Joe Groga. He's a real estate developer, investor, entrepreneur, and also he just happens to be on a national TV show. He's the husband of Melissa on New Jersey Housewives.
Cool.
So I've known Joe for over a decade, and it was always interesting for me that the guy is like a regular guy that puts on work boots every single day. He's at Home Depot every single day, working on his projects, and hasn't let celebrity stardom or even being able to accumulate his portfolio of almost 1,000 apartment units change him. He still has the same drive. So for years we've been talking about doing something together, and we said, you know what? There's a lot of people out there that need this motivation. People think that in order to get into that kind of development, that it just happens. It just happened. You grew up, with a silver spoon in your mouth, and you just did it, right, or whatever.
And really, Grant Cardone happened overnight.
Oh yeah. It doesn't happen like that. It happens literally by a couple things, right? You need to have the knowledge to know how to do it, right? You need to have the confidence to be able to do it, right? And you need to literally have the persistence to be able to, pass the barrier of a project failed to keep on going. And what I find intriguing, and the whole reason why we're doing this is because when I had my rentals or whatever, I was getting my rentals, but I didn't have the knowledge on how to really maximize them. For me, it was more about selling a property and making that than worrying about people collect the rent. Had I been able to keep those rentals and not get rid of them, everything would be different. And I just wasn't educated. So what we're trying to do is show that, okay, maybe you can't build a portfolio of 1,000 units, right? But you can buy a multifamily house, right? That can literally, you get a 20-year mortgage or whatever, and now you have just one or two of those properties that literally, they're your social security, they're your cushion, right? And creating that, and that mindset that no, okay, you don't have to have, tons of money to get into that, right? This is something that everybody can do.
So the event, give me the when and where the event.
The event is in Jersey City. It's on March 23rd.
Okay.
And it's at the Westin.
So it's the Westin, March 23rd in Jersey City. How do people register?
So we have a website called Grow with Gorga,
Okay.
right? They could buy their tickets there. Any questions or anything like that, we answer them there. And that's basically how you get there.
So that's the event with Joe Gorga. It sounds like it's going to be a great one.
Yes.
And looks like you guys got a heavy card going on.
Yes.
How long is the event?
The event's going to be from 10 o'clock in the morning to 6 p.m.
Wow.
Right? It's going to be
speakers.
a lot of speakers. There's going to be there's actually going to be a TV show film there. The
Cool.
network is going to be there. There's going to be a lot of the people that are used right now in the business that we use, right?
Yep.
And specifically that Joe uses, right? It's going to be a networking event with it's not because he's never been to a networking event. It's or a seminar.
Yep.
It's done differently, right? We want to make it fun.
Yeah.
We want to make it, the whole cast from the Housewives will be there.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a lot of stuff, a lot of cool stuff that's going to be
Nice.
going on.
So March 23rd, Jersey City.
Yep.
Westin.
Yep.
All day.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes.
All day. And they can register where again?
GrowWithGorga.com.
GrowWithGorga.com. What if I got people who are interested in coming to Flipstarters and spending time with you guys?
Every Monday here.
Every Monday. Where can they find you
here.
online?
Flipstarters.com.
Flipstarters.com?
Yep.
Very simple.
Yep.
Flipstarters.com. You want to come down every Monday?
Yep.
The event's March 23rd, Jersey City, Westin, all day long.
Yep.
GrowWithGorga.com.
Yep.
Right?
Grow
Is
with
where
Gorga.
you go to register?
Yep. That's
Right?
where they can go.
Awesome. Lenny, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yep, talk to you
Okay.
soon.
Thank you.
So that's Flipstarters, right? Right? I got to tell you,
Powerful.
there's some really good stuff there, and don't forget to get to their event. All right, they teased the event. I'll also put that in the bottom of the video as well for you guys to see that. But I'm super excited about working with them. I'm super excited about introducing our students that go through the Buying Homes HGTV style to maybe some of these investors, and then we make a nice connection there where you can buy the homes that are typically renovated and sold for a profit directly. Think about that. Think about that. So there's our inventory solution right there, is we introduce homes that are being sold at a discount to buyers who can get renovation loans and get exactly what they want from the market.
It's
Right?
really an affordable way to buying a home, creating, and it's really it becomes a new home. It's like buying a brand new home when you're done with it. You're
Right.
putting in new flooring. You're putting in new appliances. You're putting in new heating and cooling systems. You could be putting in a new bathroom,
Yeah.
a new kitchen.
I still think there is and this is our last piece here. I still think there's a reluctance by the real estate community to really get their arms around chasing and listing properties that need work or
Talking
need
about ugly
updating.
homes?
I say that affectionately, of course. But I always think about it and go, if I'm a real estate agent, that's exactly what I would chase right now. That's exactly what I would chase right now. And I would position my seller, I would position it to my seller, as I'm going to get you a price for this house that's a lot more than what an investor would pay, because we're going to have a ready and willing homeowner, Mr. and Mrs. Smith with 2.7 children that I put in the back of my Mercedes is going to come to your ugly house because we're going to position it properly. More to come on that. But realtors, don't sleep on that. That's a really, really good idea, and we can teach you to do it. We can teach you to do it here. So
I love that.
I know you do.
I want to take the ugly duckling and make it into Cinderella.
Well, that's our show. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for clicking in. You know where to find us on Reasonably Speaking.
Or
here,
Speaking Reasonably.
Or Speaking Reasonably, which is what we try to do on Reasonably Speaking, and speak reasonably. Hey, I'm Sean Thompson,
I'm Michael Bordinsky.
and thanks for checking in. We'll see you guys soon.